speak to you as a Jew. Tomorrow evening begins Yom HaShoah, Holocaust Remembrance Day. We are called to remember the murders of 6 million Jewish people who were persecuted based only on their religion. We must pay attention to what is happening to Muslims in India today, because it is beginning to echo what happened to Europe's Jews 80 years ago. India has been a world leader in advancing religious rights and freedoms in a secular democratic state. These rights are enshrined in Article 25 of India's constitution, and I quote, "All persons are equally entitled to the right freely to profess, practice, and propagate religion." When Prime Minister Narendra Modi and the BJP took control of the government in 2014, they advanced the radical Hindutva nationalist agenda of an India based on Hinduism as the only true Indian way of life. This ideology is propounded by the RSS, the right-wing militant organization of which Modi was long a leader. It spreads through radical social media, virulent hate lyrics and music, speeches at Hindu temples, and at mass rallies and demonstrations. The RSS decries what they see as, and I quote, "an erosion of the nation's integrity in the name of secularism and endless appeasement of the Muslim population," unquote. The legendary RSS chief, M.S. Golwalkar, proclaimed Hindutva as the only way to maintain unity in India. He wrote that the Hindu nation is one where, and I quote, "all those not belonging to the Hindu race, religion, culture, and language naturally fall out of the pale of real national life. The foreign races must either adopt Hindu culture and language and must lose their separate existence, or they may stay in the country wholly subordinate to the Hindu nation, claiming nothing, deserving no privileges, far less any preferential treatment, not even citizens' rights," unquote. This was his vision of a nation based on Hindutva, and it is embedded in today's right-wing propaganda. It has created anti-Muslim hate and official support and impunity for anti-Muslim violence. The government has initiated and implemented anti-Muslim laws and policies. The Citizenship Amendment Act of 2019 grants quick citizenship to people who have fled to India to escape religious persecution in Afghanistan, Pakistan, and Bangladesh. But this citizenship is only for refugees who are Hindus, Sikhs, Buddhists, Jains, Parsis, Christians, tying citizenship in India to religious faith. This in a constitutionally secular country. With the Citizenship Amendment Act exclusion of Muslims, it became a license for anti-Muslim violence with unparalleled mass protests. The government then removed citizenship and voting rights from several million Muslims with the National Registry Act. Without a nationality, they have no right to have rights, including no rights to interfaith marriages, conversions within marriage, and other restrictions on their faith and on their practice. In the past few months, violence against Muslims in India has escalated to the point that the United States Holocaust Memorial Museum ranks India second in the world in this year's early warning statistical risk assessment. Second in the world. Dr. Gregory Stanton of Genocide Watch warns that a genocide of Muslims in India is about to take place. The Washington Post recently reported that Hindu nationalists joined peaceful celebrations during recent Hindu holidays and then led processions into Muslim neighborhoods and created violent confrontations. Muslims are beaten and murdered in public places, including at mosques, with no protection from police. This has occurred in at least 6 states throughout the country in the past few weeks alone. There are open calls for murder and actual genocide of Muslims. Journalists and human rights defenders are silenced through harassment, arrests, detentions, and prosecution, including through the National Security Act, and laws against sedition and presumed unlawful activities. The United Nations High Commissioner for Human Rights has expressed concern for this situation, as has the international organization Human Rights Watch. We acknowledge the strong relationship between the world's two largest democracies, but we also support designating India as a country of particular concern for abridging religious freedom. We hope that the United States will engage with BJP leaders to end the discriminatory treatment of Muslims and of other vulnerable minorities in India today. Thank you.
Could you comment on transnational repression in the US on a broad scale?
This is becoming an increasing problem. And we've heard a little bit about the fact that people who are raising the issues that we're addressing today are often being attacked in some way, either through electronic messaging, through other forms of intimidation and harassment. The official name for this is transnational repression, and it's often initiated and sponsored by the country that is directly involved. Freedom House recently issued a report documenting more than 30 countries that are carrying out transnational repression in at least 60 other countries around the world to support their particular ideological agendas and putting those people who are speaking out on the kinds of human rights issues that are being addressed today at great risk. This is a crime. This is a federal crime. And what I want to highlight is that people need to contact the FBI. There needs to be appropriate remedies sought for this kind of harassment, discrimination, and intimidation as it is being perpetrated outside of the country that is seeking to do this kind of harm. Recently, the Department of Justice arrested 5 people who were agents of the Chinese Communist Party for harassment of people in the United States who are part of the Uyghur diaspora in the US, the Muslim Uyghur community. These efforts must be called to task. So please spread the word. Let people know that if they are here in the diaspora, if they are facing this kind of harassment, they must report it appropriately. Thank you.
Beautiful answer. Thank you so much for bringing that to light, especially the fact that you can report this type of harassment. Dr. Kearney, one more follow-up question for you, if you don't mind. You mentioned earlier that what's happening with Muslims in India reminds you of what happened in Europe to Jewish people when Hitler ruled Germany. I was wondering if you would mind elaborating on that parallel a bit. You're on mute, actually. Sorry.
Thank you. One of the most shocking illustrations of that for me is the denial of citizenship. In 1935 in Germany, with the passing of the Nuremberg laws, Jews were stripped of citizenship. And to lose one's citizenship means to have no rights at all, no protections, to become stateless, to have no country that will afford protection. And this I viewed as one of the most serious steps in the devolution of the position of Muslims within the country of India.